13 missing masterpieces, $500 million in lost assets, 0 arrests. This remains the largest property crime in American history. The target was the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, a Venetian-style palazzo in the heart of Boston, housing one of the most significant private art collections in the world. By 1990, the museum's defenses were failing. The security staff consisted largely of inexperienced guards. There was no centralized monitoring, and management had repeatedly ignored requests for alarm upgrades due to budget constraints. Financial pressure had created a series of fatal blind spots. For the city's criminal elite, the fortress was an exposed target. In the early hours of March 18, 1990, 2 men disguised as Boston police officers pulled up to the museum's side entrance. They buzzed the door, claiming they were investigating a disturbance in the courtyard. The night watchman, Rick Abath, broke protocol and buzzed them inside without seeing any identification. As soon as they were inside, the officers took control. They handcuffed Abath and a second guard, duct-taped them to pipes in the basement, and told them exactly what was happening. "Gentlemen," they said, "this is a robbery." With the guards secured, the thieves began an 81-minute looting of the galleries, the start of a heist that would baffle investigators for decades. The thieves moved to the security desk and removed the surveillance tapes, but they missed a critical piece of hardware, the internal motion sensor system, which was recording every step they took through the museum. The sensor data reveals a strange level of patience. After subduing the guards, the thieves waited in the basement for 24 minutes before finally heading to the second-floor Dutch room at 1:48 a.m. Inside the gallery, they abandoned caution. These smashed the proximity sensors and used blades to slice 2 massive Rembrandt canvases directly out of their frames. They also took Jan Vermeer's The Concert. Since there are only 34 known Vermeers in the world, this single painting is likely the most valuable stolen object on the planet. The sensor logs showed the thieves moving with tactical precision, even as they brutally destroyed the 17th-century frames to extract the art. Their target selection was erratic. They tried to take a heavy, wood-paneled Rembrandt self-portrait off the wall, but they seemed to realize it was too unwieldy to transport and left it on the floor. They ignored Titian's Europa, the most valuable painting in the entire museum, to spend several minutes trying to unscrew a Napoleonic flag. When the flag wouldn't budge, they settled for the bronze eagle finial on the top of the pole. They even grabbed a bronze Chinese beaker from the Shang dynasty. While ancient, its value was only a few $1,000s, a strange addition to a $500 million haul. But the biggest anomaly was found on the first floor. A Manet painting was stolen from the Blue Room, but the motion sensors in that gallery didn't record a single activation during the entire 81-minute window. The only movement in that room all night was Rick Abath's earlier patrol. This, combined with the fact that Abath had opened and closed a museum's side door just 20 minutes before the thieves arrived, raised immediate questions. The evidence pulls the investigation in 2 directions. The thieves moved with the tactical confidence of experts, but the lack of footprints in the Blue Room suggests a heist that may have started from within. As they prepared to leave, the thieves pried open the door to the security office and took the VHS recording of the entrance, but they left behind the hard drive containing the motion sensor data. At 2:45 a.m., after making 2 separate trips to their car to load the artwork, the men disappeared into the night. The thieves had spent nearly an hour and a half inside the building. They were reckless, they were messy, and recorded by the sensors, yet they walked out the door and vanished without a trace. When the morning shift arrived, they found a museum littered with broken glass and shredded canvas. The FBI soon took over, beginning a search that would span 3 decades. Because Isabella Gardner's will forbids moving anything in the collection, the empty frames were rehung on the walls. They remain there today as permanent placeholders. The museum eventually increased the reward to $10 million, but it has never been claimed. The paintings are so well known that they are impossible to sell, making them toxic assets for any criminal organization. Investigators eventually focused on the Boston Mafia, following leads that members of local crews had bragged about the heist. But within a year, several of those suspects were killed in a string of apparent mob hits. Those deaths effectively froze the investigation. The trail led into a world of dead men, leaving the FBI with decades of theories and very few facts. The current consensus is that the art is still out there, likely used as collateral in the criminal underworld, passed down to family members, or slowly decaying in a hidden stash. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum remains a frozen crime scene, waiting for a 30-year secret to finally be told. The empty frames have become a permanent part of the collection, a monument to a loss that remains as visible today as it was in 1990.